Okay, so what we're going to work on today is we're going to go back to that box thing we had before. We're actually going to remake it. So remember,
I actually just noticed one more problem when
yeah,
looking at the coin.
uh-huh,
When it's talking about the outer divot,
yeah,
the oh no, yeah, the width measurement is given as 0.5 from the side angle,
hmm
but then when talking about the radiuses of the circles, it's 3 point no in diameter, it's
hmm
3.5 and 3.6. Believe
So
that?
they don't make sense.
I don't think so.
Let me look at that.
Wouldn't that be? Oh no, because it's from both. Never mind.
Okay,
It's from both sides.
okay.
Wrong sector.
All right, so here's the shape that we're doing. And we have the four holes in the top. And we have the shallow cutout on the side. And that shallow cutout is on the other side too. Um, and we have dimensions of 0.5, 2.0, and 0.4. And all of this is in inches. Oh, the diameters of these circles are zero point 0.3 and the thicknesses and the depth are all 0.05. Okay, so we're going to go back to this thing. And what we're going to work on today is so last time when we made those, um, the cutouts of the holes, we did it one by one. Um, and when we cut out the two side channel things, um, we did each of those one by one. Today we're going to talk about some things for when you do patterned uh, projections and extrudes and stuff, ways to speed that up. Um, Obviously, if you're doing something ever with a lot of spokes or blades or something, you don't want to sit there doing the same thing over and over again. So we'll talk about how to use patterns. So here are the things that we're going to do today. Um, we are going to, so first I'll just summarize sending parts. So when you make these things, how do you send those files elsewhere? Get them on your computer. Um, then second, we're going to talk about patterns. Um, and then uh, third, we're going to introduce um, construction uh, objects, points, lines, and planes that you can use for developing more complicated shapes. So these points, lines, and planes are not actual physical parts uh, of your part. They're not physical features, um, but you can use them as references to make physical features. And then the last thing we're going to do is um, talk about creating 2D engineering drawings from your parts. So uh, as it has been pointed out, the drawings that I gave you for your homework had some issues with them, but those are the kind of things that we're going to learn how to do, to take that part and make a two-dimensional engineering drawing out of it that then a machine shop could use to build the part or whatever. All right. So let's somewhere, what did I call this? I'll just make a new project. Box for class. And I'm going to start out by just making this big rectangular box. We did this once before. So I'm going to start by making a sketch of the base of this box. Go ahead and do this too if you haven't, maybe you've already done it. But so I hit sketch. Now I'm going to choose what plane I want the sketch to be in. And now I'm going to use the rectangle. And now I'm going to use the sketch dimension to make the lengths the way I want. I want this one to be 0.5 inches. And I want this one to be 2.0 inches. And now I'll finish that sketch. And right now I'm out of the sketcher. It looks like I'm still in the sketcher. So I'm going to go back to the home view so that we can see it in a sort of three-dimensional shape. We can see all the axes. And now I'm going to extrude this shape. So to extrude it, I'll highlight the whole thing, go to extrude. It suggests this direction. That works fine for me. And I want to make this distance 0.4. Okay, so there's the shape. Everybody have this program open, have this thing going. Okay. So now we're going to make the holes. And so this time, I'm going to first start by extruding a single hole. But this time, instead of extruding all 4 of them, I'm just going to do the one, and then we'll use the pattern tool. So I'm going to choose this surface, the top surface here, as the one that I'm going to make my hole in. And I'm going to choose that and then say I want to sketch. And when you hit sketch, once it knows what the surface is that you want to sketch on, it'll pop you into position like this. And there's my circle. I have gotten in the habit of making my keeping my things like locating them when I draw them at sort of odd locations so that it's not making assumptions about where I put stuff. And then I can use dimensions to put it exactly where I want it. Sometimes if it makes assumptions about constraints of where stuff goes and it's not what you want, it can be sort of a hassle to undo those constraints. So, okay, so here is the hole. And we want, let's see. So I'm going to dimension this. We want it 0.3. And then we want the distance from the center to the edge to be, the whole thing is 0.5, so we want that to be 0.25. And then we want, okay, so the distance between, so LR, okay, so I think we want 16 or 0.16 inches from the edge to the center, 0.16 inches from the edge to the edge of the circle. And so then the distance from the center of the circle to the edge is the radius of 0.15 plus this distance of 0.16. So I think what we want here is 0.31. So I think that is the dimensioned sketch. And once you have all those things defined, finish the sketch. If I do anything too fast and you're a step behind or whatever, please just tell me and we can slow down. I just want to have everyone on the same page with this stuff. Okay, and now we're going to extrude this part. So hit OK on the sketch, and you'll go back to your three-dimensional picture like this. And then we'll highlight inside that outline we just made. And go to extrude. And we want to extrude down, so this way. And you could do it as a distance of, it would be negative 0.5, but a better way to do it is to go to the extent type and just go to all. And then if you go back later and change your dimensions, it's still going to always go all the way through. Okay, so this is just a better way to do it. And so now I have this shape with a hole all the way through it. We are going to use the pattern tool to create the three other holes according to, to match this one. And so I'm going to highlight this extrusion we just did. One place that you can do it is down here on the bottom. It's always giving you a timeline of all of the things that you've done. So here's our first sketch. Here's our first extrusion. Here's our sketch of the hole. Here's our extrusion of the hole. And so if you click on that, it'll highlight that part. Okay. And so now I am going to go to create and pattern. And there are a few options for how to do these things. The simplest is a rectangular pattern where you just choose a line for it to repeat along, or you can choose lines along 2 axes and it'll repeat in 2 directions. We just want a single line. So we're going to choose rectangular. You can imagine that circular pattern is really useful if you're doing spokes or any kind of radial things. If you have a part that has 50 spokes around it or something, that's the way you want to do it. But we'll go to rectangular. And it opens up this dialog box. And since we had already highlighted that extrusion, it already knows that we're looking for a feature. An extrusion is a type of feature, and we've already selected it. Otherwise, if you had gone into the pattern before you highlighted an extrusion or something, you could go now and highlight the thing that you want. But now the next thing we have to do that we haven't done yet is we need to choose an axis or 2 axes for this to repeat along. So I'm going to select axes. And now it'll let you choose. It's really just asking for a direction. Okay, so our pattern is going to start at the thing that's highlighted, and then it's going to go in a direction according to a line. So you can highlight, it doesn't matter where the line is positioned, you just have to highlight some line that's in the direction you want. So this one will work, this red coordinate axis will work, this one will work. Okay. So I'm going to just choose this. Okay. And because it's rectangular, so it shows me the blue one is the one that I've selected. The white one is what the other one would be if we were doing a rectangular pattern. That's the axis 2. We're just going to leave that blank because we don't want holes. That would be like if we wanted a sort of an array of holes, we just want a single line of them. So the blue is in the direction that I want it to go, so I don't have to change the direction. And I want it to repeat, I believe, every 0.46 inches, just based on the algebra. That does not look right. 0.3 plus. So we should have.
I think you have to change the distribution from extent to spacing. At least that fits.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Spacing. Okay. So extent. Oh, okay, right. So extent would be like the whole, it's fitting everything you do into that. And spacing, so yeah, we want spacing 0.46. That looks more like it. And we want 4, not 3. Yay.
So for the extent, instead of doing spacing, if you did the extent, how is it measuring that?
Yeah, so if we did extent, let's see what happens if you put so I guess the extent is going from the center of the first one to the center of the second one, I guess.
Okay.
And so if you took the 2 and subtracted these 2 distances, or well, this distance and this distance, you could do it that way, and instead of like working out the algebra for yourself.
Okay.
Question? That's a coordinate system, and so now we just need to say the axis will go this one. And now go spacing. Oh, this yeah. Hold on, let me pause this. Okay, so mine is done, and so I can click OK. And it's added that hole in all those spots, which isn't such a big deal if you're doing 4 of them, but obviously it's a very big deal if you're doing 100 of them or 500 of them or whatever, you know. If you rotate it around, you can see those are all the way through. Okay, anyone have any questions about using the pattern there? So now, instead of, we're gonna cut that chiseled piece out of the side. And then instead of flipping to the other side and repeating all of that, what we're gonna do instead this time is we're gonna cut the piece out of the one side, and then we're gonna define a construction plane that slices through the middle of this way. And then we're gonna say, we just wanna mirror this extrusion on the side across that construction plane, and it'll take the chunk out of the other side then, okay? So that can be another big time saver when you're doing a lot of things, or if you want symmetry of like a complicated part. So I'm gonna first highlight the side and create a sketch, and I'm going to just make this, I'm going to sketch this smaller rectangle. And the dimensions, I'm going to make the distances between the inside and outside rectangles 0.05. And I'm just going to do that 4 times. And then once that sketch is done, I'm going to extrude it. It says, you want to make a bulge out? I say, no, I want to take some out this way. So I'll change this number to negative 0.05. And there it is. Okay, so now I'm going to define a plane so that I can just mirror this feature to make it go on the other side. So if I could make a plane that's parallel to this side, but just offset half of the width that way, that would be the plane that I would want to mirror that feature around. Can you see that? What? Question?
How deep did you extrude in? Again?
Oh, 0.05. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to make a parallel plane. And that plane is not something like if I 3D printed this shape or something, that plane wouldn't appear. It's not an actual physical thing. It's just a reference that we can use to make physical things off of. So I am going to highlight this because we're going to make a plane that's parallel to this. And I'm going to go to construct and offset plane. And there are all these different kinds of things that you can make, but we're just making an offset plane. And you can drag it around. You know, it's asking you, it knows that it's going to be parallel to that blue plane. It's just asking where we want it. This whole thing has a width of 0.5, so we want it to be offset by 0.25. Yeah, we want it to be right in the middle. So now that we have that, I'm going to rotate back around where we can see this extrusion. That's the thing we want to mirror. And I guess I'm going to highlight it down here. So that's the extrusion that we want to mirror. And now I'm going to say, I'm going to go down to mirror right under patterns. I've already selected the object, and now I need to select the mirror plane. So click select and highlight that plane. And now you can see it's tentatively, you know, temporarily drawn that feature in there to make sure that that's what you want. And that is doing what I want. So click OK. And now we have that full shape. .3D printing is figuring out how much material you're using. We're going to try to stay. So we're about to start like our first kind of design project, little design project. And we're going to use the 3D printer. And we're going to try to stay under 2 cubic inches of material for these small parts. If you want to use more than that, just come talk to me. I'm sure it'd be fine as long as there's sort of a reason, you know. But so in order to calculate the volume of material that you're using, go up to that is not it. I know it's easy. Inspect. Let me get this on the video. So go to the body that we have here, right click, go to properties, and it tells you the surface area. Well, the density is just based on whatever material you tell it is. That's not too useful, but this is what's important for using the 3D printer, 0.23 cubic inches of material. So we're going to try to keep our parts under about 2 cubic inches. So this part would be, totally fine. So the last thing I want to show you how to do today is making an engineering drawing, which if you're going to send this part out to be made, or you're just trying to explain to somebody how your product works, this is just a really clear way to send the dimensions of these parts. And so to start a drawing, go up to the file, is that right? And go to new drawing. And we want it from the design. We already have this part open. And I'll give it some name like that. Okay, and it pulls up a page like this. You can zoom in or out. How did I get there? Well, I just went, so I was in the, the part, and I went up to file and new drawing, and I said that I wanted to do it from the design that I have, and then it gives you a dialog box with some choices. This thing isn't an assembly, it's just a part, but we say we want to make it from scratch. It gives you some sort of auto options too, but click OK, and it thinks for a second and then lays out this new sheet for you to put your drawing on. And you can zoom in or out of the sheet the same way that you do with the parts. And there's always, it starts with a little information box at the bottom. You can fill this out. I usually just erase it because I want more room for my drawing. I guess maybe it'll make me close this dialog before I erase that, but you can just highlight this information box and hit delete and it'll go away. And everything else in here is good for now. So I'm just going to go OK. I'm going to highlight this and delete it. And what we're going to want to have is 3 perpendicular views normally. I mean, sometimes you don't need that if it's a very symmetrical shape like a disc or something. But we're going to have 3 perpendicular views that allow us to show the dimensions of different features on the part. And then down here, I'm going to put a sort of a 3D sort of angled picture of what it is, just because on these three, I'm going to have kind of like a wireframe view where you can sort of see through it and see the different sides and stuff. So I'm going to start with the base view. Click on that. And I'm going to put it up here in the top corner. And that's pretty little. So I'm going to make it a little bigger. Bless you. So go over here to scale. And I'll go to this shape being twice as big as the actual shape. Yep. Which was the first part? Oh, okay. I went up here to drawing and clicked on base view. And then wherever you click in the picture, it places it there. If you want to change the style of the picture, over here, you can change it to only the visible edges show up, or hidden edges show up as dotted lines, which is what I find the most useful, or a shaded three-dimensional view. So you have a few choices, but I'm using visible and hidden edges. And then I'm going to take projected views from this. So this second box under drawing lets you make projections. So I'm going to highlight this and drag it down there. So I've hit the projected views thing, and this shows my two projections of my original view. And now it's pretty easy to use this to give dimensions. One thing is it's just sort of a preferred approach to put your dimensions on the view where that dimension is a visible part of the thing instead of a hidden part. So don't, if you can help it, avoid doing your dimensions off of dotted lines. But I'm gonna make my dimensions off of this one, some of them. So I'm gonna go to dimensions, and I'm gonna first show this length. Yep.
How do you get like how do you get like the thing from your other drawing into this one? It's like when I click the thing, it pulls up some random thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Other
body.
So when you, that's funny. Let's see. So start with this, and then go up to File and go New Drawing from Design.
Oh, that didn't work on my other.
Oh, you have the installed version?
Yeah. So the one lags terribly.
Yeah, it does. Can I look at that and see if I can figure out how?
But why do I feel like this?
Yeah, you need to save it.
And so now I'm going to use this dimension tool here and just go through and give some of these dimensions.
Yeah, why isn't that blue?
That's from before. If you click on the circles, it'll automatically go to a diameter measurement. And I don't see a clear way to give the depth without without using a dotted line. So I'm just going to use this one. And there it is for me, like a pretty thoroughly dimensioned thing. I don't think I missed any important. Well, I guess I need to give some distances between the edges and the holes.
Edges.
Oh, whoops. If you make a mistake like I did here, you can just highlight any of the dimensions and just hit delete. Yes.
How do you make them bigger?
If you on my controls on my trackpad, if I use two fingers and scroll up or down, it makes it bigger and smaller.
Like the dimensions, like of the sketches.
Oh, how do I drag them into place? Like
No, like how do you make them? I suppose they're not bigger. But like, yeah,
you can change the sizes of the dimensions.
Double click on the base drawing again.
Uh-huh.
It'll pull up that little window and you can change the scale again.
And of the dimensions too.
Oh, I don't know about the dimension.
There is a way to change the like font size of the dimensions. So yeah, if we go, so double click on that. It doesn't look like it's there. Oh, which, oh, text height. Yeah. Okay, so under document settings, you can change that stuff. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to make a, so all of my pictures are wireframe pictures, but it sometimes makes it a little hard to visualize the part. So in that last open corner, I'm going to make a sort of three-dimensional solid view of this thing at an angle. So I'm going to go auxiliary view. No. I'm going to go projected view of this, and I'm going to put it over here. And then I'm going to double click on it and change to a shaded style. And, you know, sometimes I'll make this one bigger than the other ones if you can fit it in there. So people can look at it and say, okay, this is the part, and now here are the dimensions of the part. Now, this is still a proprietary Autodesk format. We'd like to get it into a PDF to share. You can do that by going to export. We want the current sheet. And PDF file. And now that should be a PDF in our project. What did it say? The like into your file structure, you know, so if you go to the data panel, open up the folder. Now I have a PDF in here. Box drawing. Boxdrawing.pdf. It's still not on my computer though. It's just in the cloud. But if you double click on that, now you can go to download, and that'll get it into your download folder on your computer, and then you can share that file. So the final result is something like this on mine. So the next thing that you're going to start doing is you're going to start thinking about this first design project. It's basically, it's going to be a small part that we're going to 3D print. And I want you to just start thinking about something that you think would be useful. You have a drawer that keeps falling open, or, a door that door stops don't fit under, or, something, a holder for stuff on your desk that keeps getting lost. Just start thinking about something that would be useful, moderately useful to you or whatever, and just start sketching out, thinking about ideas. I'll put this in detail on D2L for you, but, and over the next few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, we're just going to start thinking about this thing. We're going to come up with preliminary designs. We're going to think about it in terms of the 10 properties of good design. We're going to iterate it a few times, and then in the end, we're going to go over to the Fab Lab and 3D print it out. Okay, so that's all I have to say for today. You're welcome to stay, and I'd be happy to talk to you about that. Or, you're free to go too. So, all right.